to keep 202 Kmart stores along with 223 Sears stores open, assuming that it survives the bankruptcy process. Most of the proposed locations are in highly populated coastal regions. On January 15th, 2019, when it appeared that Kmart's parent, Sears Holdings, was preparing for Chapter 7 liquidation, the bankruptcy court judge ordered the company to return the negotiation table and work out a new deal with Eddie Lampert to prevent the liquidation from occurring. A new deal was struck at the last minute that would keep up to 400 Sears and Kmart stores operating. On January 19th, 2019, Sears Holdings officially announced that they had won the auction and that some of the existing stores were to remain open. On January 24th, 2019, a group of unsecured creditors, which included Simon Property Group, filed a motion with the bankruptcy court to overturn the deal Sears Holdings and recently made with Lampert, claiming that Lampert had been engaged in serial arrest, stripping of the company at the expense of the suppliers and landlords. The creditors had requested that the bankruptcy court rule to have the company be liquidated instead of being reorganized, so that the creditors would be able to recover more money that was still owed to them. On January 28th, the federal government operated pension benefit Guarantee Corporation announced that they were not in favor of the current Sears holding agreement with Lampert, since that agreement would create a $1.7 billion funding gap in the employee pension fund that would require the American taxpayers to cover the shortfall. In papers filed on February 1st with the bankruptcy court, ESL outlined plans to close 3 Kmart stores per month in 2019 if the court decides to accept ESL's purchase bid. In February 2019, it was announced that a U.S. bankruptcy judge approved the sale of the most lucrative part of Sears Holdings to Edward Lampert, allowing the surviving part of the company that operates both Sears and Kmart to remain in business, and the expense of the suppliers, landlords, employees, pensioners, the U.S. government, and other creditors. Kmart would have 202 locations after the sale is completed. And then we come to the present, which is new management under Transform Holdco. The sale of 202 Kmart stores to Transform Holdco was finalized in February 2019, with the remaining Kmart locations liquidated to partially pay off Sears Holdings creditors. In May 2019, it was revealed that Kmart would be closing in Walla Walla, Washington in July, making its first post-bankruptcy closure for the brand since being bought by ESL. On August 6, 2019, Transform Co. announced plans to close 5 additional stores by October 2019. At the time of the announcement, Transform Co. also added that it cannot rule out additional store closures in the near term. Between August 5th and 23rd, 2019, it was later announced that 4 additional Kmarts would close. On August 2019, the massive closure of 77 Kmart stores was announced, with the stores being closed by December 15th, 2019. This includes the last Kmart in Connecticut, in Watertown, the last 2 Kmarts in Idaho, in Lewiston and Twin Falls, the last 4 Kmarts in Indiana, in Elwood, Kokomo, Richmond, and Valparaiso, the last 2 Kmarts in Kentucky, in Erlanger and Somerset, the last 2 Kmarts in Maine, in Auburn and Augusta, the last Kmart in Oklahoma, in Clinton, the last 3 Kmarts in South Carolina, in Greenville, Lexington, and West Columbia, the last Kmart in Tennessee, in Lebanon, the last Kmart in Utah, in St. George, and the last 2 Kmarts in Virginia, Chesapeake, and Tab. This was the first mass closing post-bankruptcy for the first brand since being bought by ESL. According to the announcement, there would be 115 locations remaining by December 2019. The company is expecting to close more than 100 stores by January 2020. In November 2019, Kmart announced another wave of 45 stores closing in February 2020, which will include the last Kmart in Wyoming, in Jackson, the last Kmart in Wisconsin, in Kenosha, the last 3 Kmarts in Ohio, in North Canton, Talmadge, and Marietta, the last Kmart in West Virginia, in Charleston, the last Kmart in Delaware, Rehoboth Beach, the last Kmart in Oregon, in the Dalles, and the last 2 Kmarts in Iowa, in Algona and Charles City, and the last Kmart in Arizona, in Lake Havasu City, which will leave Kmart absent in 31 states. 70 stores in 19 states: California, Colorado, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Washington, Guam, Puerto Rico, and the United States Virgin Islands will remain open by February 2020. The Wall Street Journal reported that Transform Co. would continue to evaluate its retail footprint, suggesting that additional closures are possible. And there's the history of Kmart. Could it be game over for Kmart? Well, if these store closures, if Wall Street Journal states that the store closures will not happen, or any other source declares that they won't happen, I think Kmart could survive. But if they do happen, Kmart could be in the game over zone with a whole bunch of other companies. But let's hope not, because if Kmart goes out of business, some people will be out of a job and they will need to find a new place to work. Anyways, I sure hope you guys enjoyed this video, guys. If you guys happen to enjoy this video, please make sure you hit that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe, and also don't forget to ring that notification bell if it's there. And until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.